of the most interesting things about Boruto Uzumaki as a character is that in 2015, during Boruto the movie, Masashi Kishimoto decided to make a little bit of a change of Boruto's character. So in Naruto chapter 700, Boruto was almost like a Naruto ripoff to a certain extent, in the sense that he was a huge prankster just like his father was. However, in Boruto the movie, Kishimoto took things and he dialed it up in a different way. So he made Boruto a genius prodigy who never had to work hard to learn ninjutsu. Pretty much all you had to do is just tell him the steps to learn a jutsu, and somewhere along the way, Boruto would figure out how to make a shortcut to learn the jutsu without completing all the steps, which is what the Boruto anime eventually addressed in 2017, when Sasuke told Boruto that before he could actually train Boruto, Boruto would have to relearn all the basics of nature transformation because he lacked the basics, in particular when it came to lightning release, and thus force he couldn't actually train him in more advanced ninjutsu until Boruto did this. Since then, we've seen Boruto actually apply those lessons and even make his own Rasengan under Kakashi's own watchful eye. However, during the events of Sasuke Shinden, the teacher's star pupil, we see Boruto in a pretty interesting situation where he's forced once again to show off that prodigy level skill that Boruto has. So the information is given to us in the Sasuke Shinden novel, The Teacher's Star Pupil, which I'll leave links to down in the description box for anyone who wants to read the novel and do so in a way to help support the channel. Now, in the scene I'm going to share with you guys, it's been an entire week since Sasuke abandoned Team 7 during their training underneath him in order to go on an urgent S-rank mission. Now, during that time, Boruto has done the unthinkable. He's put Team 7 on a mission to protect a famous pop idol named Lily from being murdered by assassins during her concert with 50,000 people in attendance. So in order to prepare for this, Boruto is forced to take on Lily's appearance by using a transformation jutsu to pretend to be Lily, and during that time as they prepare, Lily rips into Boruto. She's pointing out that fans, they notice the smallest things about you that you yourself wouldn't notice. So for Boruto, in order to fool her hardcore fans and not raise any suspicion to the attackers, he has to mimic her movements perfectly, down to the way that she moves her hips and even the way that she looks at the crowd. It's in this moment that we see an unconventional flash of Boruto's brilliance be put on full display. So with the scene finally being set, it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. Now, Boruto finds himself having to learn the choreography for Marshmallow Heart and the other 12 songs in the set list for that big day for the concert. Boruto-kun, Lily sighed. Please move your eyes around more evenly. Lily belongs to everyone. There's gonna be over 50,000 people. I can't look at every single one of them, Boruto said. You have to look at all of them with determination. That one moment is eternal for the audience. Someone will notice it. Lily belongs to everyone. What are you even talking about? Boruto said. Boruto didn't understand 90% of what Lily said, but he diligently put his athletic abilities to work to master all of her lessons. Learning the dances wasn't especially hard, nor was the in-between song banter any real challenge. The issues were his pride and his shame. Whenever Boruto started to feel pathetic or lose heart, he reminded himself that this was all for the sake of peace in the village, and to get Sasuke to finally notice him. I can hardly call myself a ninja if I get hung up on my pride and lose sight of my objective, Boruto reminded himself. By the day before the live show, he'd somehow managed to hammer the basics of being Lily inside of his head. You really did learn the whole thing in a week, although I guess I'd expect nothing less of a Konoha ninja, Lily said as she was thoroughly impressed by Boruto's efforts. End quote. So what should really stand out for you guys is the fact that Boruto and Lily look at what Boruto did in a different light. So Lily starts out by saying, you really did learn the whole thing in a week. That implies on a certain level she didn't think Boruto would be able to learn all 12 songs, all 12 dances, all the song lyrics in under a week. But she speaks out the other side of her mouth by saying that since Boruto is a Konoha shinobi, she isn't necessarily shocked. However, let's be practical here for a second. Let's put on our real world caps for a second. So there's a reason why not everyone can be a backup dancer to a pop star. So learning 12 separate dance routines and 12 separate in-between song routines to set up the next song, and then 12 separate song lyrics that you have to sing. each with their own sets of footwork for the actual dances, and pulling it off in a manner that mirrors what professionals do is not an easy task. There's a reason why people train for years in order to become a professional dancer, even if it's doing something like hip-hop dancing. However, Boruto shrugs it off and says that he didn't find it that hard at all. So when you look at this is very much in line for Boruto as a character. So learning hard things has never been an issue for Boruto. You have to remember, to put this into perspective, it took Naruto 4 weeks to learn how to use the Rasengan. It took Naruto an entire week out of that 4 weeks to learn the final step of the Rasengan. By comparison, Boruto learned the Rasengan and added a change in chakra nature to it in only a few days of training under Konohamaru. The kid was so talented, he didn't even realize what he did at the time. It took Sasuke explaining he put a chakra nature change to it for Boruto to even realize what he actually did, because Boruto cut so many corners. Now, the kid does things that should take long periods to learn, and he pulls it off in a fraction of the time without even using shadow clones to speed up the process, which makes you realize that Boruto took a cheat like that Naruto did, that Boruto could be learning advanced ninjutsu like freaking crazy. Now, I personally feel it's very important to actually highlight this part of Boruto's journey because it speaks volumes about his growth as a character, and it also does say a lot because he wants to do a lot of this to impress Sasuke, but this also shows that he's very much the grandchild of his genius grandfather, the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze. And what I also like in this moment is that, you know, Boruto's like, I need to try and impress Sasuke, but it kind of shows you that he heard what Sasuke said earlier in the novel, but he hasn't truly bought into what Sasuke said, which is Sasuke still thinks that Boruto is a capable shinobi. He thinks that Boruto is a talented enough shinobi that if Itachi was able to actually see Boruto and see the ninja that Boruto had become, that Itachi would be proud of Boruto. For Sasuke to make that comparison, it really shows you how much that Sasuke actually believes in Boruto's capability as a ninja, but it's one of those things to where Boruto himself has to believe it as well. He has to believe that Sasuke is being sincere in that moment. So I like that, and I gotta say this, with this latest installment of Sasuke Shinden, I do think that for that reason, this is probably gonna be one of the more important installments you get this week. However, I'll be back with another installment soon. As always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.